Joel and Garrett, you were so close yet so far on the amazing race. Were you really just 2 minutes behind?
You know what? I think
That's
so.
that's what we were told by multiple people. I know that Greg and John left those kayaks just shortly before us. It was a little bit of a drive getting to that park, and we both had to stop for directions. I feel like we got quick directions, and they were pretty direct to where we needed to get to. So it's believable to me that it was really 2 minutes, and that's what people were telling us. So I believe that's accurate, which is hard to
You
swallow,
know
you know.
what? It's both. It's both. It's good and bad. To know that you missed out by 2 minutes is very tough to accept.
Mhm.
But on the other side of the token, Greg and John are among the best players to ever play this game. And I obviously this is the only season I've done, but I'm a student of the game, and I'm confident that they are in the top three best teams to ever be on the show. So to finish 2 minutes behind them, that's how I want to focus on it. I want to focus on the fact that we were only 2 minutes behind such a great team.
And you were in first place for most of the leg.
Yeah, throughout the whole show, anytime we had a roadblock, we struggled. Anytime we had a detour, we worked really well together. And so the detours is really where we made up our game, you know.
Yep.
There was a lot of times a roadblock would be the first thing we would do, and we might fall behind. But I still had all the confidence in the world because you assume there's a detour coming up and we're gonna catch back up. And the scramble was, team building the whole time.
Yep. There's just like one team task after another, which is just played right into our strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys seemed like maybe not like finished really quickly, but you worked together really well and you got through them without a lot of difficulty. You had to look for power chords, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, the other teams struggle with that same thing. And so we didn't feel as dumb as we thought we were.
When we watched it back last night and we saw the other two teams also couldn't find the amplifier and the power cord, I was like, good, it wasn't just us, because I thought we were going to look dumb when they just found that stuff right away.
And it seems so simple, right? It's like
Right.
so obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, once you find it, you're like, well, duh, why didn't I look there to start with?
Yeah, totally. So how long did you spend at the kayaks?
Oh, we were there a while. I don't know how long, but
We were there a while, but it was also, for what the challenge was, it was fast up into the point where we had him in the wrong position.
yeah,
Mhm.
I
we
feel
knocked
like
it out quick.
I feel like the time for us to set the whole thing up might have been the same amount of time that we were there after we set it up, trying to figure out what we had wrong. Like, it probably doubled our time
Yeah,
for those
maybe
kayaks.
maybe 15 minutes to set it up and then 15 more minutes to figure out our error. Maybe, I don't know. People ask us time questions, and we were wearing wristwatches, but for some reason it's
Yeah.
still hard to remember to look at them. So we can
That's
only
like the last thing on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just lose concept of time anyway when you're
Exactly. When the
doing it.
stress is high.
Yeah. I mean, like you did have the kayaks correctly at first. Like you said, like, oh, this is, bird's eye view was yeah. And then you didn't place it correctly, obviously. So, and then when you did finally correct it, you were like, duh, why didn't we fix that initially?
Yeah.
So did that never even cross your
uh,
mind when you were trying to figure it
Well,
out?
I don't know what it was, but when we first had it all lined up, we kept trying, like anytime we called for a check and we were wrong, we were looking at the smaller details as opposed to the bigger picture of everything. And it wasn't until all of a sudden I read that bird's eye view again and it just clicked in my mind. The bird's eye view is going to be something that flies like a bird. So the plane must be the bird's eye view. And that's when we flipped them. And once we called for the check and they said, yeah, you got it. I was like, of course. Why didn't we do that a long time ago? But
Hmm.
what can you do?
Yeah. But how deflating was it to see Greg and John get it on their first check?
I remember hearing really loudly them yelling, "Let's go!"
Greg, that's Greg's celebration, which my kids celebrate that same way. I mean, he's a little bit older than my kids, but that's the young generation celebration.
Yep.
I think we said radical back in the day.
But that big loud whoop of "Let's go!" It was like a knife in our heart.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, we still hadn't figured it out yet. But it was as soon as we could figure it out, it was just a simple thing, and we could be out of there. And we knew we were close. We just didn't know that these two very similarly named roadblocks were mixed up.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you did leave, you were just a couple minutes behind. So where was your mindset at that point? It was like, again, just getting
It
direction.
wasn't over.
Yeah. We still had a chance. Another thing we've been really good at besides the partner challenges is the navigation.
Mm-hmm.
We have really struck gold when it comes to navigation. And so we still thought we had a chance. I think it was around midnight at the time when we finished that up. And so there wasn't a lot of traffic. There wasn't a lot of people. Luckily, we found this Jack in the Box that was open 24 hours, maybe. I don't know. And we were able to get some directions from them. And we got great directions. It was kind of a long drive, which gave us more hope because in a long drive, people are more likely to get lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really did have hope. And when we pulled into that parking lot, we're thinking there's still a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, speaking of striking gold, you guys found, I would say, a great Samaritan early on at the gas station who was like, you guys are on the Amazing Race. Here's the phone. Like, Google whatever you want.
He was.
Oh, yeah.
They were so excited. They were so helpful.
And
There's like, whatever you need, we'll help.
You know what's funny? When we pulled into that parking lot, I told Strasser, let's go inside. And Strasser sees this couple walking, and he's like, no, let's ask them. And I'm like, but they're all the way over there, and they're walking away. Let's just run inside. We're right here. And he said, no, I feel good about this. Let's ask them. And I'm so glad that we did because, that guy knew what we were doing, and he wanted to help us, and it turned out great for us.
Yeah, it felt like he was willing to give you his phone if.
Yeah, he's like, that's all yours.
Yeah, he was like, here you go.
If we would have been allowed to, he would have let us take his phone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, you could just drive off with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think two of your best moments on the entire show was in like 7 in Germany when you thought you were last, but you weren't. And then like 10 in Sweden when you had no idea that you were in first and you won the leg. So how did it feel when Phil told you both of those things?
I feel like we're pretty oblivious no matter what place we're in.
Yeah. Oh gosh. What you couldn't see in Germany in Leg 7 was we got our sausages at the end of the mustard challenge, and we could see the map from there. We knew where we had to go. There was a staircase behind there that we had to go up to get on top of the chocolate museum. So we knew Phil was there. And in our minds, we knew we were eliminated. So we weren't in a big rush to get up to the mat right away just to end our amazing race. So we're like, you know what? Let's enjoy this.
Let's enjoy our last few minutes on the show, our last few minutes in Germany.
We're eating the
bratwurst. Let's just enjoy this, And
then we casually make our way up to the mat, and Phil took a full 15 minutes to let us know that we were still in the race.
Oh my God.
Well, I think the first thing that we said to him is, Phil, we're just glad that we were able to get eliminated here on the mat instead of you coming to the lock bridge and eliminating us on the lock bridge. And then at that point, he was like, okay, I'm going to give you the loser's speech and make you guys cry.
He asked us a lot of retrospective questions. Are you excited to see your family again? Is your family going to be happy to see you? What has it meant to you to be able to do this
experience together?
And he got us bawling.
We were crying.
He milked that, huh? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He got us good.
And when he finally told us we were still in the race, we
still didn't believe it.
We didn't even understand.
We were confused.
He told us the way he told us we were still in, we're like, what?
Yeah, we were like, but wait, we're the last team. How is that possible?
And then the irony being like there was a mercy elimination that same leg.
And then that's when he said there is a team struggling more than you guys, and I think I will have to eliminate them out on the race. And that's when we realized that the Philly Johns, because the Philly Johns were the only team that we thought were nearby at one point. But then we thought they must have jumped us at some point. And so when he said that, that's when we were like, oh my goodness, I don't know how we lucked out that much, but geez, because we struggled that leg for sure.
Yeah.
I was on that lock bridge for 2 hours looking for my lock. Just thinking Phil was coming up to eliminate me on the course. And luckily he never did.
Yeah.
He might have.
And then you went on to win Sweden. And that I think that's the case of like, that's actually good not to follow the pack at sometimes because we all got lost.
Yeah.
Well, and those three we had seen Corey and Rob and Steve and Annalie at the recycling, and they were leaving as we were working on ours. We knew they were ahead. We assumed either Greg and John already finished the recycling or they were doing the other roadblock or the other detour. And so at that point, we're thinking they're probably ahead of us too. And so as we're running through Sweden, getting on the train and getting back to finding the mat, we're thinking those other 3 teams had to have been here already and gone. They were far enough ahead of us. So when we go down the stairs to the mat, we're just grateful that we're still in it. You know, we're grateful that we still have Todd and Ashley behind us, and we're going to survive this leg.
And Phil knew that we had no clue that we were in first
Once
place.
again.
Always messing with you.
He had
Oh,
fun
yeah.
fun with us
Yeah.
again, and just, yeah, totally
Love
messed
it.
with
Love it so much.
Oh.
Well, Garrett, you had mentioned that you wanted to win the million to get a service dog for your daughter, and you guys have since started a fundraising page for fans to donate money.
Yeah,
And
Smythe, he's reluctant to ask people for help. He feels awkward doing that, and I don't. So I'm just like, fine, I'll create
that's what besties are for, right?
And, yeah, and I mean, I love Smythe's daughter so much, and she doesn't talk a lot, but one of the words that she says is Strasser. And she doesn't enunciate it perfectly, but she says Strasser when I go over to his house every time, and she gives me a big hug. And I love her so much, and I can't wait to see her to get this I just see this service dog opportunity being such a big thing for her, and I'm so overwhelmed when I see people catching on and grabbing onto this. We didn't ask for it. We didn't know when he mentioned that on the show that everyone was.
Yeah, a lot of
start
fans were just like,
talking.
"Is there a place for us to donate?" Like before the show was over. Yeah.
When I heard that all the fans were asking about that, I was in shock. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy to me that everyone is just. It makes me emotional to even talk about it. But, whew.
Well, that's how much people love you guys. So you guys you have to race again. So
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah.
It would be so awesome.
Show us where to sign.
We'll make it happen eventually. So
Yeah.
it was great speaking with you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, it was so much fun watching you on the show as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet
Thank
you.
you. Have a good one.